Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. You know, one of the stories I love bringing people is whenever we win a pro-Second Amendment judgment in a major court. That's one of the things I love to talk about more than anything else. It's progress. It's victory. But today I want to bring you a story of a defeat for the Second Amendment in a major court. In the 11th Circuit of Appeals, there's a case that came forward using the Second Amendment as a defense for a right to own a firearm that they have struck down. But I'm not bringing it to you being unhappy. I'm actually okay with this. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, that's weird. You're supposed to be a no-compromise gun guy. Don't you believe in the fact that everyone except for, people mentally adjudicated or currently in prison should be able to own guns? Pretty much, yes, I do. I do believe that. I am a no-compromise person when it comes to the Second Amendment. I don't think the government should have a say in it. Like I said, if you're not currently in prison or adjudicated by the courts, everyone else should be able to buy firearms and own firearms. The only laws about firearms, I think, should be don't use them to commit crimes or do illegal shit, basically, like rob or murder, etc. The tool itself, government needs to keep their hands off of it. But this is a little different. And I'll tell you why this is a little different. It appears a gentleman got arrested for drunkenly brandishing a firearm in public, threatening people. And one of the charges they slapped him with was being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm. Well, his defense argued he can't be a prohibited person because he doesn't fall under any of the categories of prohibited people. He's never been accused of domestic violence. He's not a felon. He's never been adjudicated, and down the line. All the things that are enumerated that, you are disqualified from owning a gun because of this thing. He's none of those things. But there's a catch. He's an illegal alien. He's not a resident. He is here illegally, living in this country. And obviously presenting a threat to people if he's getting arrested brandishing and waving around firearms. So you might be looking at me now saying, aha, there's the catch. That's why you're okay with this being overturned, or what I should say, struck down. You're okay with the court saying, yeah, you're not protected by the Second Amendment because you're not an American. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Now, does that make me anti-immigrant or, whatever? No, it doesn't. Doesn't make me racist. Doesn't make me anti-immigrant because he's here illegally. He's committing a crime. And I know people say, I don't like when you say illegal aliens. People can't be illegal. But they can be here illegally and they can be committing crimes. And that's what we're saying when you say illegal alien. They are committing a crime by being here. And I do not believe that he should be covered by the Constitution. Now, I'm not saying when people come into America, they're not people and you don't have to treat them like people. Everyone should have basic human rights and basic civil rights, but they're not privileged to all the rights and privileges of a citizen of this country. Now, I know you're going to say, well, you're just lucky you were born here. Yeah, I am. I admit that. I don't say I'm proud to be an American. I always say I'm grateful to be an American because there's a lot of worse alternatives. I'm not saying they didn't get the short end of the stick being born where they were born, but at some point, a society has to accept responsibility for their own circumstances. America wasn't created the way it is now. It just didn't come into being after the Big Bang as it is now as a free democracy. Americans, our forefathers, fought for that, and we're fighting for that today still. If other places are corrupt and run down and drug-addled, and it's a shame, but it's not my fault. And at some point, it has to become their fault. And I don't believe illegal aliens should be getting the privileges of being an American. So I'm okay with the court saying the Second Amendment does not apply in this case because you are not protected by the Constitution. You're here as an illegal alien committing crimes. If you want to come up and apply for citizenship, get your resident alien status, if you come in legally, fucking stock up. I think, people who immigrate legally, even before they're citizens, should be allowed to own guns. They're not committing any crimes, not doing anything wrong. They should be allowed to own a gun. They should be protected under the Constitution while they're here. But if you're here illegally, no, I don't think you get the protections and the privileges and the rights. Those are withheld for citizens. They're reserved for citizens. If you want to become a citizen, do it the right way. If you want to be a criminal, then I think you should be treated like a criminal. In fact, if we stopped having this attitude as, oh, as soon as they get across the border, jackpot. If we quit having that attitude, we wouldn't have an illegal immigration problem in this country at all. If either side, the left or the right, wanted to actually get rid of the problem of illegal immigration, all they'd have to do is start not providing all the benefits of citizenship if you manage to step across the border. Get rid of things like, anchor babies. If you're not here legally, then your baby shouldn't be a citizen. If you come across the border illegally, you shouldn't be able to get a job. And the government should crack down on the businesses that hire them. And I'm not talking slaps on the wrist. I'm talking, you get shut down permanently at a certain point. That's what the government should do. If they did that alone, if the only immigrants you were allowed to hire were ones that were here on legitimate work visas, and when you got caught doing otherwise, you got strikes against your business, and after a while, your property was seized because you're damaging America, or some sort of punishment. I'm not an expert in this category, but, I've got the basics down. And I don't want these businesses getting away with hiring illegal aliens, keeping wages low, etc. And then they abuse the people, even work visas from like India. I have a friend who's here on a work visa from India. And believe me, he would never ask Intel for a raise, because if he did, the first thing they'd say is, you're going back to India, we're bringing somebody over on your visa that'll work cheaper. So they use immigrants as fodder for companies. And I think if we just crack down on the companies, we wouldn't have an illegal immigration problem. Because why would you come here if you didn't get all the benefits? And that would include other things. Like if you come here and you're illegal, you don't get welfare. You don't get to get a job. You don't get any of the privileges. You don't get unemployment or any of those things. Especially not, and you don't get to come and say, oh, I need welfare to support all my children that I had while I was here. No, none of that stuff. You don't get the benefits of being a citizen unless you are a citizen, or at least you're on the legal path to being a citizen. If you're just here illegally, nothing. I don't think you should be able to enroll your kids in school, because if you enroll your kids in school and the school suspects that the parents aren't citizens, they should be required to call the government and say, hey, these people aren't citizens and they're here illegally. Same thing with a hospital. If you go to the hospital and you're an illegal alien, I do believe the hospital should treat you because you're a human being, but they should report you for being here illegally. So if we quit treating everyone like they're a citizen just because they've stepped across a border, an imaginary line, and started requiring people to go to the proper procedures, to become a citizen, we would solve the immigration problem, period. Because if immigrants on the other side of the border knew, hey, if I just walk in and sneak in, I'm not going to be able to rent an apartment. I'm not going to be able to get a job. I'm not going to be able to get social benefits. Not going to be able to send my kids to school. Not going to be able to go to the hospital if I get hurt. If they thought that, they wouldn't come. They try to make where they're at better. Maybe they would actually improve where they're from. So this is one time I'm 100% okay with the courts striking down a Second Amendment defense, because I do not believe the Constitution fully applies to every person who walks across our border. If you want the rights of citizenship and the privileges of citizenship, you have to work for them. If someone breaks into my house, I shouldn't be obligated to treat them like a member of the family because they got through the threshold or through the window. That just doesn't make sense, but unfortunately that's the way we've been doing in this country for a long time, because like I said, neither side wants immigration problems to stop. Both sides love illegal immigration, and they switch back and forth by which one is the closed borders, which one's the open borders. Now Republicans are closed borders, Democrats are open borders. 10 years ago it was the opposite. Under Reagan it was the opposite. Under Bush Sr. it was the opposite. So all they do is they switch the football back and forth, but in the end, they both want illegal immigration because it's good for big business. It's good as a divisive argument for, left and right. It keeps people in their camps and keeps them from thinking about other things. So, like I said, in this case, I'm 100% on board with saying the Second Amendment does not protect this person because, like I said, they are not a citizen and they should not be treated like a citizen. All right, everybody, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I do appreciate you coming, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I want to remind everyone out there to always carry and stay safe until I see you again.